Okay, I think we're live now.
Excellent, Riku.
So welcome to this webinar.
We are so excited about talking about how TalentAdore and RecRight together can make the candidate experience beyond anything else on this earth. Yes. Riku, tell something about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Riku Malkki. I'm a CEO of the company called RecRight. It's a video interviewing company. We're a platform where recruiters can record questions and then send them to the candidates. And through this, they can shorten up the application period and then also give some quality to the personal interviews afterwards when we get to that point. So we are videoing about video here now. How about you, Saku?
Okay, so my name is Saku Valkama. I'm the CEO of TalentAdore, one of the founders of the company. So very excited to talk about our collaboration with RecRight and how we together are bringing their next level candidate experience available for you. I've always wanted to communicate individual to every single candidate as a hiring manager, but I soon discovered how difficult it is. And this is the point that made me and my partners to create a company that is really concentrating on candidate experience and taking the whole recruitment to a new level. Our game and our goal is to own the human resources space in the technology-wise and introducing and showing you the best available technology for candidate communication in the world currently. Some thoughts about today's webinar. So we'll be showing you cases, examples, and you'll be also getting some of the polls so that we are asking you some questions and see that how many of you are how you're doing your recruitment currently. You are free to ask questions at any time, and we take them as they go at the right spots. And at the end, we also reserve enough time to answer any of the questions that you may have. So let's move forward. So employer brand is really the greatest asset of your company. And I would give you maybe one example, for example. So many other companies currently are needing more and more digitally competent people for their companies, because many of the business are transforming and being automated in the companies. And if we look at from the candidate's viewpoint, so many of the candidates themselves are wondering when exiting the university or being at the beginning of their career, are thinking, which companies they might apply for. And as all these companies are having the needs for them and their expertise at the same time, they actually find themselves in the situation they look at which companies are most attractive to them. And obviously those with the best employer brand will stand out and the best chances to succeed in this competition towards who has the best resources, who has the best technology available for their own customers. So we do think that the employer brand is their greatest asset today for your company. When we talk about the candidate experience, so that has a direct impact on your employer brand. And we talk about the touch points that you as a recruiter and as a company have with each candidate. And those touch points are your marketing opportunities for candidates, towards candidates, because they read every single message and every single dialogue that you have with the candidates with careful attitude, and they are really keen to know more about you. So those points are the ones also that not only to make progress your recruitment, but also it makes progress and grow your employer brand. And if we really think about it, isn't it so that above all, everything is very humane to treat candidates well? They spend a lot of time applying for your company, so it would be fair for you to reply to them. At this point, we'd like to make a poll. Could you please answer to the following question? Do you feel you communicate enough with your candidates?
So it seems like not too many companies are communicating enough. So this is something that is very common in companies, and now we're there to help you out during the whole process. If we think about the assessment part and also the latter part of the recruitment, when unfortunately most of the candidates get rejected, but we want to have it so that they get rejected positively.
So if we think, about this humane stuff still, it's good to remember that both parties, let's say candidates and recruiters, they have different perception of time. So for a candidate, 1 day is a long time, whereas for the recruiter, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks is something considered like long. So therefore, it's good to look at the best practices to have the communication in line with the candidate's expectations. And when we talk about the bottlenecks in recruitment, so as I explained at the beginning, I always wanted to communicate individually to every single candidate, but I could not. It's 1,485 minutes. It would have taken me to communicate individually with each candidate in a typical recruitment process where 100 would apply. What we see is that it's equally important to have and find the right hire for any process as it is to communicate in the right way with all the rest, which are the 99 candidates. And it's no wonder in current processes that so many of the 99 candidates actually end up hating the companies that they apply for. And it has a lot of consequences in terms of being a customer and stop buying the company product, how they refer to their friends, how they refer to their relatives, and their relatives or friends might be the customers of the company, or they might be future hires of the company. But as well, the yellow people here in this picture, as you can see, those yellow people could be potential future candidates for other employments of your company. And then finally, what is really important to remember is that typically, according to statistics and studies, one candidate is more likely to apply only once to one company in his or her lifetime than applying 2 times or 3 times or more. So therefore, how to continue the dialogue and how to continue the contact with the candidate is really important. Riku, how do you feel?
Yes, this is a good example of a traditional recruitment project of a 100 candidate mass. And if we think of these 100 candidates and then again the 10 candidates that are getting into the interview phase, the recruiter must have made a decision that, okay, I have time to interview 10 people, and that's a cut and a limit to interview the candidates. So whenever we get to the video part of the recruitment, we can give an option to the candidates more than the 10, let's say around 30, to present themselves with a video. And while we get better image from the candidates through video, we also save time. So we get double benefit of having video in the candidate evaluation phase. So this was the traditional model of having 10 interviews per 100 candidates. Now if we take video interviews there as one phase of the process, we can get around, let's say, 30 candidates to the video interviewing part. So we spend around 3 to 4 hours watching those 30 candidates' videos, and based on those videos and the CVs, we get a very good package from the candidates. And then again, to the face-to-face interviews, we don't have to invite so many anymore. We know quite well who is coming to the in-person interviews, and if the fit is the same as it was in the video interviewing part, then we get along with 3 personal interviews. But then the process goes with the same pace, so that all the rest of the candidates need to be contacted and communicated with, and here the rest of the 30 people will get also a communication through either TalentAdore or then through video from RecRight. So RecRight and video interviews is always hiring people who click, and by click I mean competence plus compatibility. So there's the hard skills, and then there's the soft part of the people or the staff or the future employees. And videos have actually been used in very many parts of the recruitment process, starting from the career pages of a company. And here's a example of Gantt, and they are using videos for employer branding purposes and employer stories and career pitches and all these. And by the way, now that we talk about videos, did we have a poll for this position, this moment? We could actually start the poll, and the poll title was, have you used video interviews in recruiting before? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it seems like quite many have used.
Vast majority have. Very nice, very nice. So now for the rest, now is a good time to start using video interviews. So with RecRight and TalentAdore, you have a complete package if you think about whole recruitment process, starting from the beautiful job ads till the part that you have the perfect no thank you emails or video messages. So we were in the Gantt example. So these are just corporate videos that are nicely produced and blasting colors. Then there is another part that is always living in the social media. So we can have these kind of employee stories or employee stories, actually more, to be more exact. So we see how it is to work in a company and how it feels like according to the employees. And this is a crucial part when you think about, is the company really a culture or an organization that I want to be part of? And then we get to the part of video interviewing. So whenever there's a position open and there are the 30 people based on the CVs that are compatible based on the hard skills, they will then be invited to the video interviews. So this would be the next part of the using videos in recruitment. And then the last part would be the ideal solution that if a candidate has been contacted via video during the video interview, it would be just natural for him or her to get the rejection message as a video message as well. This might sound a bit harsh or not harsh, but hard for the recruiters to establish, so that you can, with your face, you can communicate to the candidates that, okay, this time we had to let you go, but have a good summer, let's say like this. So, but then again, if we go back to the candidates like using the video interviews, and we have picked this image just to present that the video interviews are really easy, so that child can do it too. So for 84% out of the candidates, they like using video interviews, and they would recommend the method to their colleagues.
So why candidate experience? I think, first of all, what I'm really thrilled about is our cooperation. Is that if you think about what we've been able to do already for a long time, is to communicate individually with every single candidate. But what was before this announcement that we have a combined solution? It was very difficult for us to increase the amount of people that get to the job interview, and that is one of the critical points as well, to increase the employer brand, and also getting a much better candidate experience. And the candidates will learn about the company, and that is really, really cool about our system. And I could just give a couple of words about how we designed our system. So we went to talk to the HR professionals, and we made the question for them. What tasks would you give to a personal assistant if you had one next to you? And they talked about that they would like to give away the interview scheduling, informing candidates about the process, setting up the different parts of and sending information and all these tasks that are very much related to communication. Towards the end, also letting them know why they are not selected, and if there are some applicants you like to keep contact with, how to keep on boosting that. And then we have the logic is that the likelihood for everyone to have a personal assistant is very low. Therefore, what we created is a virtual recruitment assistant. Virtual recruitment assistant. And that product treats every single application as a love letter. Really, as a love letter. Let's think about what is a love letter. There's a lot of time spent. It is a demonstration of one's feelings towards somebody else. Here, application is a love letter expressing a candidate's feelings towards the company. So therefore, anybody sending a love letter would expect some kind of a response in return because it is personal. And therefore, what we did is we can show some of the cases of what makes it so personal. So according to studies, 26% of candidates stop buying company products for a short amount of time or permanently. And if you look at a case example from the retail sector, so if you have 100,000 candidates and 26,000 will leave with bad experience and they stop buying anything from that, it can be a supermarket chain, for 3 months, and people easily can consume 200 euros per month in such case. That would lead to over 15 million euro loss. This amount is not even taking account the loss when they talk to their friends and other social circles. And if they talk to their friends not to apply for the company, what is the loss of productivity in the company? As we all know that high productivity people, which are the top talent, they can be multifold productive and give much more profit for the company than a average employee. So this demonstrates a little bit of what we are dealing with.
So, as Saku said, recruitment is a $1 million opportunity to build your brand. So there is also a possibility for lost revenues, but it's also a possibility to boost your brand and through that your presence in the B2C work, for example. Then again, if we go to the negative part of recruiting and a bad hire situation, some calculations say that you can lose money worth of 100,000 euros per hire. That might sound a lot, but there's a logic to that. And let's say that the most common version of bad hire is not to hire at all. So you spend money and a lot of time to try to make a hire, and then in the end see that, okay, there are no candidates that fit our culture. So how video interviews can help that out is the fact that whenever you have the 3 times more candidates in your video interview pool or phase, you might find those very talented, very suitable based on culture candidates that just didn't excel based on the CV. So we might not get rid of bad hires at all or in total, but we can reduce the possibility of a bad hire.
Okay, one more example here, and then we go to the live demo. A couple of, actually 2 examples here. I would like to point out first is that we are doing continuously real-time analysis on how candidates perceive personal communication, the value of it. So in a typical recruitment process, you have very generic letters like, this time we got very good candidates, thanks. This time it wasn't for you, but good luck for your future. So we are doing comparisons that companies who do in the old-fashioned way, the recruitment, they get roughly 20% recommendation rate. Maybe sometimes can be a little bit between 20 and 30, but that's max. And when they use our solution, it is up to 70%. And I kind of quite confident once this video part is more widely used together with all the other technologies we have, it will probably go even beyond.
I would think so too. It's a two-way business in the end. So the recruiters have the possibility to see the candidates, but also the candidates can see the recruiters. Yes. Or the future possible supervisors. So some candidate might say at some point that, okay, maybe I'm not going to that team at all. And then everybody saves time. And that's a good thing as well.
It's a good thing as well. So two more examples before we go to the demo. So first of all, how was it perceived? So we get this type of feedback from candidates all the time. First of all, they say that the quality of the feedback is outstanding. And even more importantly, they see that I felt like I had a personal connection with the recruiter, meaning that the communication and dialogue during the process was so personal that they felt that there was something more than normal happening. And at the end, what they really like is that they learn out of the process. They put hours of their time for the process and they get communication, so they learn how to improve going forward.
Yes. And these examples are from video interviews, so we give the option to the candidates always to give some feedback. And I think that the two most common feedbacks is the fact that the interviewees can do their work from wherever at any time. So they can do it from their home during their own personal time. And then another part is the fact that, okay, it's very nice to give my true enthusiastic impression through video, which is very hard to give through a cover letter, a CV. And I think the most common feedback is that I think it was really exciting in the first, but then when I got going, it was really fun in the end. And that's really fun in the end.
And it's good to remember that transparency is really there to boost all recruitment in the future and currently as well. One example is Glassdoor. Glassdoor.com, for those who don't know Glassdoor, it enables employees to rate their company publicly, rate their leadership in public, and also tell their salary details in public. And their candidates as well can post their recruitment experience public. What it means is that in the USA, for example, currently, when anybody is applying for an interesting job, they first go to Glassdoor and see the reviews. If the reviews are good, it encourages to move forward. If the reviews are bad, they don't move forward. Or what companies have seen, that companies with bad reviews in these public platforms are actually increasing the cost of hiring. You need to publish more, you need to pay higher salaries, so it has a true impact. So therefore, companies are investing in this type of platforms. And there are platforms also in Europe. So Glassdoor is also present in Europe, but also in Germany, for example, there's another platform called kununu.de, which is widely used for the same purpose. And these platforms are just about to increase and have their impact in our everyday lives. Now we talk about the demo and how the product works. So, but I give you just a couple of slides about the workflow, and then you'll see a live demo. So our virtual recruitment assistant is having the magic of the artificial intelligence. So the artificial intelligence enables the recruiter to respond individual to every single job candidate. What it does also is that you can start to create beautifully designed job ads and publish them in social media channels. Also, what is really important and differentiating from others is that it's extremely easy to apply. In many of the other systems, people may spend 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours rewriting their old resume stuff, which is unnecessary in the real life. So basically what we are doing is that we want that process to be 2 to 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be longer than that. Then what you can do is to evaluate the candidates. We have very simple to use scorecard, and then we can send automatic status updates to every single candidate throughout the process. So every candidate knows all the time what's going on. And if they are not selected, then they'll get a individual feedback at the end. But then what is the cool thing during the process is that we have this integrated video interview thing where you can record questions, send invites, you can go through the videos, and we'll be showing you that just in 1 minute's time. And if that's not all, what is really important is that after the feedback, it's also we are able to measure the candidate experience in real time. And I really want to point out real time, because the real time here means that you don't need to make any surveys separately. It's done as you recruit, and it doesn't make you any extra work. But at the same time, you know how your employer brand will and is getting better according to your process. So Riku, please show some cool stuff online.
Okay, let's go to a real demo. Here we have TalentAdore ATS, or Talent System, Virtual Recruitment Assistant, is it?
Yes.
Yes. So we have built this kind of sales manager position here, where we have a couple of candidates. So now we would like to show a candidate that we wish to evaluate, and that would be Mira in this example. So would you like to tell a little about this?
So basically what you can do here is that you see the description, you can see the CV, you can see the application letter. Something to point out, you are not clicking to open any document. All the documents are there opened for you. You don't have any risks of any viruses because you're not opening in your system anything. And if we now go to the feedback, so basically you can click the feedback and you can see how a magic happens. So we can see the evaluation based on the CV, and then we see that based on the CV, the motivation was well spelled out. The personality fit wasn't so clear to us, so we put a broken heart there. But the competence, how they can benefit our company, was pretty well said. So we put a full heart there. As you see on the left-hand side, the letter is being formulated all the time. The person had relevant working experience and also relevant education. But what we felt is that the salary wish was a little bit on the high side, so we put the broken heart, and then the international experience was not so convincing. And obviously the company can always add their own features here to add to this type of feedback. And the cool thing here is that as it is generated based on our neural network technology, it is formulating the whole letter word by word in the same way as your brain would. So it produces individual letters that are never repeated, and basically it's more likely that you win a grand prize in lottery that you actually get 2 letters of a kind. And then you can send it. And what happens?
Very nice. I should have an thank you email here saying, Dear Mira, and the whole letter here has been generated by the AI and the recruiter in cooperation. And the fun part of it is that you can get, as a recruiter, you can get feedback as well. And so that the candidates, after reading the feedback form or the letter, they can give some feedback based on stars 1 to 5. And then also they can write some free-formed comments here. So thanks for the feedback. I'll try to train those. For example, like this. And then if we get back to the talent list, we can see that there are 3 candidates, and now we are looking at another one, for example, Maria, which we can actually invite to the video interviewing part. So here comes the integration part of the 2 systems. So we don't have to go to the separate systems. We can just send the video interview invitations straight from TalentAdore. And how the candidates see the interviews, they see it like this. So they get an email invitation to their inbox, and then they follow the link of the video interview, and they end up to this kind of page. So they have their contact information there, short instructions, and then a question on the left and the answering part on the right. So there are actually 4 videos here. There's one introductory video, and then there are 3 practical questions to the candidates. So the candidates would start then watching the questions here, and sorry about the volume might not be heard there in the webinar. So here would be the question part of the recruiter, and then the candidate starts answering in this kind of view. So then we have another candidate here who has already answered, so we can get to that part. So here's another candidate called Joanna, and Joanna has a description here, she has a CV here, she has an application letter, and also there's a tab for video interview. So whenever the candidates answer to the video interview, the answers are straight away sent to the ATS into the same place where all the other candidate profile information is. So we can actually just watch the video replies here. So with this package, with the description, with the CV, and with the video, we should have a quite full and quite complete package to decide whether we want to move forward to an in-person interview with this Joanna in this example or not. And if it's a personal interview, then we might be picking up a phone, or then if it's a no for this one, then we will then update the evaluation part and then send the feedback to the candidate. What else? Did I miss something?
Well, then what is really important is that once we go towards the end of the hire, so we can as explained, send the individual feedback, but then you can also mark, let's say that Joanna is really good. What we would have liked to see from Joanna is a capability to do Photoshop. Everything else was great, but no Photoshop experience. So we can mark her as part of the talent pipeline and start communicating with her after the process, continue communicating at her approval. So she would be getting some advice how to get Photoshop experience, and she would be kind of also getting a dialogue with our company and building the relationship. And when there is a right position for her, we can really target and let her know about that, and we already have an established communication with the candidate. So for example, here we can add some of the tags that help us then the different type of dialogues for different types of talents that we have in the pipeline. And this is really important. And then what you can also show is the statistics.
Statistics, yeah, this was very interesting. So here's the statistics part, and we also have the talent feedback here. So for example, I think here was the one that we gave as a candidate. Thanks for the feedback. I'll try to train those, and 4 stars. And then the real-time statistics here looks very good. And would you like to point out something from there?
Yeah, what is really important here is that many of the recruiters, your time, if you're in the HR department, you want to help the hiring managers to hire better, your time is limited. So you are able to see which of the guys in which of the positions is as a hiring manager is not performing or is having some troubles and is taking a long time. So you can actually then detect that these people I need to support more than the other people. So it's really helping you to focus on the right people. And then also what is cool is that you know all the time how well your employer brand is developing, and if you do something differently, you see the impact immediately. So you can do real-time corrections instead of waiting for some kind of surveys to be published 3 months later or 4 months later, or even later than that.
Yes. If we get to the first part of the recruitment back here, I have here a job ad open. So this was just something that we just created before the webinar, and this is the outlook and look and feel based on RecRight's branding, how the job ad could look like on a web page. Quite nice, something about this.
And then when you push the apply, you'll see how easy it is to apply.
Yes.
So applying with LinkedIn, you can do that. You can add some free description if you feel like it, and you can add some attachments. But no more filling in formulas. That's old-fashioned school. And what we want to do is to help you to incentivize the applicants to be very good and very interested in your company.
Amen to that. Okay, so then we still have maybe one slide left here.
So
yes.
Before we start the questions and answers section, which I think is probably one of the most significant section of this webinar, is to remind you that the personalized communication with candidates, it really improves your candidate experience, and it also makes your employer brand to grow and stand out. As a result, you attract top talent, and when you attract top talent, obviously your business will grow as well. So any questions you may have, we are more than happy to answer them.
Okay, let's see. Let's open the questions part.
So what type of questions do we see here?
Let's see.
Okay, on the chat part there is, I can see that 2 modern recruitment software providers have combined their...
Yes, this is
this is another
introduction one. For that. Okay. There's a question.
Sorry.
Do candidates like video interviews?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, so according to the surveys that we have made to more than 40,000 candidates, 84% of the candidates say that they like the process. And the same magical percentage was the one that candidates would recommend video interviews to their friends. So yes, they do like it after they have been invited to video interview. Some candidates might feel that video interviews are not that nice, or they would like to be in a personal interview straight away. Okay. But the video interviewing part is the good part of it, is that more candidates get the possibility to show themselves through video and their personality.
And that is a big improvement. Then there's another question here, is that does the tool remind me to send feedback to candidates? Yes, that's one of the key points, is that we want to enable you to communicate better. So in case you forget a candidate and you have some kind of an goal to answer every candidate, whether it's the same day or within a few days' time, if for some reason some candidates haven't been answered to, we make sure that you are notified. And if you feel that the system, if you want the system to save you in case you are like sick or something and you're not able to respond, we can also set so that they send notifications to candidates telling them that I'm sorry, the whole process has been delayed because of these situations. So it can also make the communication on your behalf even when you don't tell the system to do that, if you said it so. And then there's another question here, is that does this system have other languages than English? For user interface, you can basically have any language is existing in this world. User interface is easy. What is the tricky part is to make the artificial intelligence and the natural language processing algorithm to support other languages. So yes, currently we are supporting English, we are supporting Spanish, we're supporting German, we're supporting Swedish, and then obviously Finnish. So a lot of languages already available, which makes it so that you can use the English user interface, for example, but you can communicate in another language to the candidates and give the feedback on their mother tongue.
Yes, then there's a question. Is it easy to share application in social media? Is there a link, or how is it done? I'm pretty sure this is about job advertisement. Yeah, job ads.
Yeah, that is really cool. So we have a cool feature is that you just push a button and you can publish it in any of the free social media parts, for example, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so forth. But then also what you can do, you can also make budget-based recruitment marketing. So what we have is a tool that you can set, let's say, like 5,000 euros. So you can say that I want to target these and these people with this profile in geographically limited area. So our system is able to optimize in different social media channels how you should do it. So we have Google, we have Facebook available, we have Instagram, and we are also introducing Twitter soon. And that is saving hours of time, because if you go to these different tools and you make it separately, first, it takes a lot of time, and second, you're not optimizing, because different target groups get better response rates from different social media channels. So we also have that cool feature integrated into the system.
Very nice. Then there's another question. Is it difficult for a candidate to make video interview answers? Yes, this is something that we have asked from the candidates as well. We think it's very easy, but we have to know from the candidate's perspective as well. And based on the candidate survey, by default, and the candidates, they spend around 40 minutes to answer to a video interview. And they take around 2 to 5 retakes per video, because we have the possibility for the candidates to take a retake if the first recording goes like not intended, like it normally goes.
I think we probably have time for 1 or 2 more questions, if there are any, or have we already answered the most of the questions? Let's see if there's anything coming in.
I think.
Okay, there's one more thing here. What is the average net promoter score for a typical recruitment process with a TalentAdore system? Okay, so I explained that earlier, is that so we got up to 70% recommendation score, which is extremely high. And many of the companies, they have marketing data, is that they can see that the business is directly impacted by the NPS score. And what we are able to do is to optimize that and put it to a next level connected to the recruitment. But recruitment should be seen as part of the making business for the company, because the candidates are your customers, and it's definitely important. And that we are supporting all that type of metrics that you may come up with, and make sure that you can measure the experience that you are able to make and the impact that you're able to make in your company.
Yes, I think our NPS at RecRight is around 70 as well. So in this scenario, in our cooperation, I would say 1 + 1 is more than 2.
Yes.
I would say we can get more than 70% of
that is certainly our goal.
Part.
And, and maybe one more thing which is really important is that together we have this promise to provide you with 5-star support. So the customer support is really important for us. And also that if you have any development proposals, because of the flexible architecture that we have compared to other in the market, is enable us to fast response rates for the needs that you may have. So you don't have to wait for 1 year to get further developments. And there is like one more question: how much does it cost? So you can start using the product from around 200 euros a month when you only have a few candidates coming in. As our system is an automated marketing system for candidates, and it's also obviously the recruitment system, our value delivered is linked to the number of candidates that you get. And when you talk about the video interviews, you can start as low as 180 euros per recruitment, or you can have volume-based recruitment fees when you are doing a lot more. Maybe Riku, you want to say something about that?
Yes, when a company is a growth company, when you have more than 10 recruitments per year for where you want to use video interviews, then it's it's better to take an ongoing subscription, just as with TalentAdore. The price starts quite the same, around 200 euros.
But what is really important for you to know, it's all one-stop shopping. So The system provider, which is TalentAdore, will provide you all that. You will not have separate bills. We do everything for you. So you just see one system, and we together in the background will make sure that you have a wonderful customer experience. From my part, I would like to conclude the webinar. I hope you enjoyed as much as we did, and you will be getting some links to the material that you can refer to later on, and you can also send inside your organization and the people you feel that might benefit from this.
Thank you from my part as well. And there will be this webinar was recorded, and you will be getting the recorded version that you can share with your colleagues or further look into later on during the week. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your interest.
Thanks.